Hey guys, welcome back. So we're gonna do some React, we're gonna do some Svelte, and some Anki. So if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment if you want to see me make it 607 years. And let's immediately get into it. No time to waste. We don't like to waste any time, right? So um, um, let's open up something. React. Um, I have to do some practice. Give me a second. Um, yeah, let's do the practice what I have to do. So um, down. Okay. To be how? To be like what? To be kind of otte or what was it? Otte o, otte ototta. Okay. Ototta. To be dependent on. We hada. We. We. Okay. Yes. Or oro hada. To be difficult. To be this way. Oh, iro hada. Iro hada. Okay. Um. Iro hada. To be like follows. So learning this word. Sigan saram. Ingan. Okay. Ingan. Myong. Oh, it's a counter. Okay. Such. 그럼. Oh, 이런. Okay. She. Um, Mr. Mrs. Okay. To be how? What kind of? 어떠다. 어떻다. 어때. 어때. Um, okay. To try. 아보다. 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 Okay. Let's see. Damn. To be this way. Either. 이러하다. Okay. Good. Such. 이러. Okay. See? Okay. Um, Let me think of it. Let me see. To be what kind of otoda otomoda. Okay. Okay. To try a boda. Okay. Um so okay. 인간 사람. Okay. 10 new words learned. Good. Let's set a clock. Um let's do 26 minutes. Okay. We have done that. Now we have to do some Anki on mobile. Let's see. Okay. Array map. Creates a new array, applies a function to each element. Yes. Does not mutate. Same length as original. Okay. Okay. Good. Array add. What does add do? Returns element at a given index. Supports negative indices. The -1 is last item. Does not mutate. Okay, so array 1, 5, 12, 8, 30, 44. Let index be 2. An index of 2 returns array 1 at index. That doesn't make any sense. Give me some. Array at index or array at 2. Oh, okay. Sure. Index -2 um, returns 130. Oh, that's very interesting. So apparently, so when we have this, we could say um, for index is 4, 2. Let's do 1. Now let's make it longer. 7, 25. I don't know. And I will do index is 3. We can say a dot at 2. We get 1, 3. Yeah, 0, 1, 2. But if I do -2, then is it 0, 1, 2. I will get 7, 120. Why? Um, oh, because -1 is the last item. Okay, and then you have -2 is the second last item. Okay, oh, okay. That's how it works. Oh, that's very interesting. Um, never use this array, but that can be very useful. So if you want to say array add index, right? And then we're gonna say 7, that doesn't exist. So I get nothing in return. That is not good. So if you don't have anything, you get nothing in return. So there is no boundary. Um, that is a good question for ChatGPT. Let's see what it figures out. Because I get nothing in return. What uh, would be the result? Let me actually. Yeah, okay. Better? Yeah. Um, I'm curious what ChatGPT will say. Let me see. Add methods used to access the index. It supports both negative and index. If the index is unbound, it returns undefined. Oh yeah? Is that true? Let's see that. Console console.log a at index. What do we get? Undefined. Okay, he's right. Just the other one is not saying, so you get undefined. Okay, good. How about -3? So -3, I will get 7. And when I say 3, I will also get 7. Okay, that's clear. Good. And does not mutate. Okay, let's do a concat. Um, Merges arrays, creates a new array, does not mutate the old array. Okay. And then you have to say array concat array 2. Okay, so either one needs to start. Okay, good. Copy within. We have never used copy within, so let's check it out. So element variable dot copy within. Let's see what this is all about. Let's go to mdn copy within. Okay. So the copy within method of array instances shallow copies part of the array to another location in the same array and returns this array without modifying the length. Okay, so you're moving around. That's what they're saying. Copies part of the array to another location, mutates the array, does not change the length. Okay. So let's see. Okay. Give me a second, guys. Okay. So apparently A, B, C, D, E, copy the index 0, copy to index 0 the element at index 3. Okay, so on the first location, okay, but you're, wait, 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so, but you are mutating the A. So on 0 from 3 and 4. It was like 0, 1, 2, 3 before 4. So 3, 4. Okay. Copy to index 1 all elements. Copy to index 1. Copy to index 1 all elements for index 3 to end. Okay, so 0, 1. So this is B then. And then E, D, E will be copied. Zero, 1, 2, 3. I don't understand what's going on. Target start end. Target start. Okay, so the target is 1. So 0, 1. So it starts from here. Yeah, let's just make a separate element because what's happening is that it copies the other one. So let's do array 2. And then you get another result. Okay. So A, B, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that means this one will be D, E, and the other ones will also be following that pattern. Why would you do this? I don't understand the to shift the data of an array. It specifies to typed array method same name. Sequence is copy and pasted as one operation. Paste sequence will have copied values even when the copy and paste region overlap. Because undefined becomes 0 when converted to an integer, omitting the star parameter has the same effect as starting at 0. Okay, but this is the target. So 0, 1, 2, and then this one will be 1, 2. Oh, move all the elements. Oh, okay, but that didn't say, it didn't say anything like that. Mm, okay, so when would you use copy within ever? Overriding a section of an array for performance versus reaccount. Okay, so this is like you might want to reuse a part of the data to simulate the buffer shift of override certain elements with others already pressing. Simulate the circular behavior of repeating patterns. Okay, so okay. Uh, Show me a small real world example. Imagine you're collecting temperature data from a server every second and storing the last 5 readings. With the new readings coming in, you want to discard. Because this is something. Okay, if you don't want to grow the memory, then this becomes useful. So this is the buffer, and the new reading is 22.7. Place a new reading at the end. Okay, buffer copy within on the 0 position. Change everything after 1. So you start with this one. Oh wait, let me check again. The target, and then you start. Okay, so the target is 0, so you start here, and then you change 1. Shift all values 1 position to the left. But if you do this, I think if you do this, okay, so 20, like this one got lifted, 23, 22.5, 22.6, and you get this one. Okay, and buffer length dot one is new reading, and then you get this new reading here instead of that one. Okay. Okay. Well, at least we've seen it, right? So good. 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 Um, so we're not gonna study the next four for today, and we have 10 minutes to just that one. So we're gonna do some React first. So let's do some Anki. Alright, let's do some Anki study. Tab switch. That's what we did, right? But instead of this, you could do a find, and if the find is equal um, to the active tab, then you return something, else you return nothing. So it replaces an entire function, and this one could be replaced with ID, and you put ID here. But I still wonder about this latter part though. So we're gonna give this a red flag. Let me see, flag card red, because I'm not entirely sure with this one. Actually, let's do suspend. Let me see, suspend node, accordion. Okay. What am I actually going to do today? Let's see about that. Today is 17th. And we said we do this in 18, 21, 24, 25. It seems that we're not doing anything. Oh, that makes sense. We need to do the fetching one, apparently. And we're gonna also make a counter and then also controlled input for today. But let's study the Anki first. So we have some data here, question answers, right? We have the active tab. Item index is index, and on click you want to use what we already had, and then we want to use this one. But you don't want to do this ever because you can get a return of another number, but it's good enough for me. So does this make sense? Yes. Model use ref. Okay, let's see. Preficious cannot be preficious, right? It's either or. And then handle back drop click. Oh yeah, this is the only close if they click directly on the backlog. Not children. Okay. So if the e-target is the e-current target, then set open is false. Okay. So we have here, if it is open, then we have a model. We don't have anything else though. I'm not sure if it has React. Let me see. npm packages. Oh, you need a license key for this. I actually want to buy a license key though. But let's go to settings. Oh, it has AI. Oh, you need your own key as well. Assholes. Okay. You see TypeScript. Okay. Use figma bindings. We don't have those. But okay. So let's see if we can import React import React from React. Let me see. React is declared but never read. Yeah, sure. But also let's do use state. Okay. And then we can get a const app, const app, and then we're gonna do export default app. That's what we're gonna do. This is going to be an anonymous function. Let's do a return statement, and let's also try to close this one. Okay, god damn it. Okay, I'm gonna say S1 hello world, and let's see if it can actually push something. Okay, then I need to do console logging. This is any. Okay, so it doesn't understand tags then, which is totally fine, but okay, then okay, now we know. eTarget is not current target, so let's ask ChatGPT this, what it actually means. Okay, explain this. Let's see. Then we know. Why are target and it's JavaScript. So I'm saying that if they are equal, then I need to set it to false. Okay, I understand this. Yeah, sure. Okay, good. No more fetching. Let's check the fetching for a second. Use effect. Yeah. Okay. I'm saying if the data length is bigger than 0. So okay. Let's check accordion again. Yeah. Okay. Pretty much normal fetch. Yeah. Good. Model. Oh, we're not using a ref, by the way, or are we? We're not using a ref. Let me think about it then. Okay, so we need to rename this card. Let's do browse. We're gonna say model use ref. Model use state. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So let's do some React then. Let's go to React Playground. React Playground. Right. Alright. So we're gonna do some challenges. So today we decided to do very easy stuff. Again, we're gonna do some fetching, normal fetching with use effect, maybe actions with use effect, and then we are going to do the counter and the controlled input, and maybe if we feel cheeky, also the to-do list. Let me see what the to-do list is. Yeah, we can do the to-do list as well. Okay, but let's let's start then. Alright, so if we want to make a counter, obviously we need to use state because we're using React. So let's we go to count, set count is use state, and the count is gonna be 0. Okay, that's what we need to know. So let's review something in the on the screen. Okay, that's my alarm. Give me a second. I need to set a little bit of a bigger alarm, like 10 minutes or something. Yeah, 10 minutes. Awesome. We're gonna make a counter. Counters are very simple. I'm just gonna put it out as a h2, if you don't mind. h2, and we're gonna use count. Very simple. Count will be 0. No problem. No issues whatsoever. Now, we also need to be able to increment and decrement the count. So how do we do that? Well, we need to use obviously a button, and that button also needs to have a name. Increment, like add. Let's do add. Let's keep it simple. You're gonna also do one to subtract, right? Let's see if I still remember how to do it. Very simple stuff. Subtract. Subtract. Okay. And we need to get this working. So we need to have a handler. So we're gonna say const increment is going to be an anonymous function. We want to set count via a function with the current count and say current plus 1. So if we use an on click and we say increment, actually I should just use add, but for this sake I will do this. It will increment, no issues whatsoever. Alright, now let's do decrement. Same procedure almost, but there's a catch. Set count, I'm gonna say current. We don't need to use the parentheses because we're doing one. We need to say if the current is equal, less than or equal than 0, then just say 0, else current minus 1. I think we can do that. So if we add and subtract, okay, subtract is not working. Let me see why. Let me think about the order. Current. If it's equal, let's assume it's that. Okay, it won't add. Okay. Maybe because I need to switch it around. Give me a second. Current minus 1. Else it's gonna be 0. Okay. Okay, let's start simple then. So current minus 1. Okay. Okay, there's the issue already. Great motivation, thank you so much. How are you doing? Oh, I know why it's not working. Oh, why am I so stupid? If the current is less than 0, we want to do 0, else it's gonna decrement, and of course we need to do an on click. Oh, so stupid. Way too focused on the. That's why you always need to make plans. Okay, so let me see. Okay, decrement is working. Now let's assume we also want to do something like a reset. Right? Let's do button, and we want to reset. Okay, let's do that. The reset, we can say const reset to reset to reset 0, and we're gonna also make a function, and then we're gonna say set count. This is very easy stuff. Current, gonna use a replacement variable, and we're gonna say current. We can actually say current is 0. Count. Oh, we can even say 0. I think. I'm not sure if it's bad practice, but I think we can do that. Okay, so let's do an on-click. Alright, and then let's do reset 0. And if I add and just click, okay, so that is good, but yeah, let's keep it that way. But I actually want to set the current count to 0, so let's see if that's a better practice to do. We say current, we fire a function, current will be equal to 0. So, okay, no, that doesn't work because it's triple equal. So, okay, so that doesn't work. Why doesn't that work? I think we can directly say is equal to 0. Let's see what happens. Okay, that does not reset. So you actually can directly just say 0, and that will work. I have to figure out why, so let's write down why. Why current is equal to 0 not work, and why does current is to 0 not work. Okay, so we wrote that down. Now next one, let's do the power of something. So const pow is obviously an anonymous function. We're gonna set a count, and we're gonna say count current. Let's keep it consistent. It's gonna be current times 2. Well, it's not really a power of 2, but I think you have to say math.pow, and they say this one, and then as argument you say this one. I think that's how it goes. Where's the last parenthesis? Okay, so, and then we can create another button, and then we can say pow. Let's see, power by 2. Okay, let's see if it's correct. It seems so. So let's see what happens. So we're gonna add something. We're gonna do the power of 2. Okay, that works. Okay, let's do then the square root of something. Okay, so square root, and we're gonna say square root current. Square root current, and let's do the same. Okay, square root current, square root. So if I go to 6, do the power by 2 and squared, we get the same back. Okay, and then we can do this power by something, square root, couple of times, subtract 0, and cannot go lower than 0. Okay, so I think I showed that I pretty much understand what's going on, so that is pretty great. Let's extend a bit on this, and so we did the counter, right? And let's do before we do fetching, let's do control input, and from the controlled input we also gonna then add in to do, and I think we forgot something. Let me see. So yeah, controlled input and to-do list, and we need to do fetching. So okay, let's do let's do controlled input first. So input, set input, okay, and then we're gonna make an input, right? And the input is returned, so we can say like this, and we're gonna give it a name, and the name is going to be input. I don't think that's a good value though, so let's do value, set value first. Okay, value, set value. We're gonna have a placeholder, so placeholder is going to be placeholder is going to be add a value to display, and we're gonna also add in a paragraph so we can display the value directly on the screen. I said that's gonna be nothing, but I want it to be a string because we're gonna add a string. I don't have Discord, bro, or ma'am. You say Shiv, so it's Shivan, I think. Shivan is a girl's name. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Give me a second. So we need to have an on change, and an on change we can an on change we can fire function, right? I think set value. I'm not sure if we do it this way. We're gonna get a target. We're gonna fire a value, and then say e current target. I think that's how you do it. Okay, apparently not. Target maybe? Not sure. You fire an E and then you say E current. Yeah, it's good. Current target. It should be good, but it's not displaying, so we have an error. We need to think about it for a second. So we have the name as a value. We set the value here, add a value to display, and we're gonna set the value for the input that we have. Right? It's grabbing the input. Set value to the E current target. But this is my final answer, so that's not good. But no, I don't have Discord. I don't have it. So very boring, right? Okay. So I'm not sure what's going on here. So copy issues inside the on change. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. I see. Okay. 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 So it says value is value. And this I should not do. I should say we fire a function. And then we are setting the input. So set value to E current target. I think that's what it said. And then I cannot type. Oh yeah, of course. Well, okay. I'm thinking about JavaScript, but sometimes it's React, right? So target value, because we're talking this keyword. Okay, and I do not get any display until I do this. Okay, fine by me. Okay, great. So there's that. Let's immediately then do the to-dos then. So let's do a to-do set to-do with a use state, and obviously that's gonna be an array because we're gonna put everything in an array because we're gonna map over it. So let's do that. So we're gonna say to-do.map, and we're gonna say we're just gonna say t. It's not best practice, but it's fine. T, and let's open it. I forget if I need to use return here, but let's also do ID, and let's do let's make it a list. So we have a list here. Let's put that one in between, and we're gonna give an li back, and then the key is the ID, obviously, and then we're gonna render out t, I think. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense because we're running out. We're looping through. So obviously we need some kind of button to set it, right? To add a value. So we need to grab the value here, and we then need to do something with it. So let's add a button, and we're gonna say button. We're gonna say add to do, and then what I want to add to do to be working on is that it will display this value, but I already have it here. So this one can actually be removed, but I will keep it for now for myself as a reference. So yeah, let's make a function. So const add to do. It's going to be an anonymous function. So the first thing what we need to do is that if we have done a to do, we need to set the value empty again, right? So because if we added something, this one, the value should be pre-emptied. Then the second thing what we need to do is to check if the input is not empty. So we need to check if the value, is empty, we want to return something. Okay, so return null. Let's do null for the sake of this. Else what we also can do then is we need to set to do, but we need to keep track of it somewhere. Let's see how we do that. Okay, so we're gonna say set to do, right? We first need to get all the to-dos, and then we set the value. I think that's how we do it. So, okay. And nothing is happening because I don't have an on click. So let's do that. Add to do. Okay, to do. Add to do. Okay. Okay, we get an error. Because it's an array. Okay, so we get added to do, but it's not displaying, so that's not good. Why would this be? Maybe because we need to put the DUL inside. So that is my first suggestion, but maybe not. Okay, that seems not so. But we don't get anything inside the let me think about it. Yeah, unique identifier. Okay. There's a key, there's a T. Makes sense. This is to do the map. We are adding in the prefixes to do, and you're adding the value, and you're emptying the value. We're setting the to do. So you're doing something with the use state. The set value is empty by promise. Maybe I have to do something like this. Add a value to display, value, value, value. Okay, so let's remove this for a second. Okay, so it does disappear. So we need to see. Change token value, it's a value to display, add to do, cons add to do, and then we have this. It makes total sense. We can also set like an argument. What a dedication towards reactjs. I'm not sure if you're joking, but thank you. It's very important to know the standard stuff. So I just really want to be consistent in that. Well, this is completely unnecessary actually. I think this one is fine outside, so that's not the issue, right? It's clearly displaying, right? So that's not the issue, right? Maybe only this part is a to do, and this one, yeah, that could make sense because the value is not a to do yet, right? So, but I'm not sure if that will work. No, okay, so that's not the issue. I think the issue is here though, but I like this better. Because first you want to iterate what we already have, and then you want to add the value. It makes total sense, but I'm missing something. Maybe it's here, the error. Let me read. To-do.map. Okay, to-do.map. We have a t value and we have an ID. And then you say you want to render out each individual one. Now it does make sense. Just I don't know what the error is, so I'm gonna go for the answer. Let's see what the error was. Small issue, you're not returning anything from it. All your input has name and value, which is necessary, okay? Let's see what I'm doing wrong. I am doing this, right? To do if value is empty, return. I am doing this, right? Oh, I see. I think I know what the issue is. So I said this. So this brackets, you need to return then with this one, and then it will work. Or I can say, I immediately return with the parentheses, and that will also work. Okay. Oh, okay. So my mistake is that I'm using curly braces, but if you're using curly braces, it does not directly return. Then you need to add a return. Okay, good. How much do you code daily? Maybe like 2 hours. But I am already experienced, so I don't necessarily have issues or something. Alright, so we have done the to-do list, we have done the advanced counter, also controlled input. Let's do fetching for now. Okay, so let's remove this one. But first I need to do something else. I need to do 5 words of vocabulary real quick. For me, React and Next.js very hard to learn. No. It's not very hard to learn. You just need to know how you learn it. What is your experience? Tell me your experience. It's not hard to learn. The people that say that is not true. Um, okay. Okay. Give me a second, guys. Mm, I need to know your experience first. If I know your experience, then I can tell you how to learn it. Because it depends on your level. If you're just gonna learn React just from scratch, yeah, that is pretty hard, but you need some certain experience. And I'm gonna show you if you tell me your experience. So let me know. Um, what kind of... Um, give me a second, guys. Before we do the use effect, I need to do one more thing. Um, okay. Good. Okay, and let's do an hour later. Give me a second. Clock. Let's do clock for 40 minutes later. Alright. So we're gonna do a use effect. If you don't know what a use effect is, it is a hook in React. So use effect. Let's actually add in the use effect and remove stuff we don't need. We're just gonna say okay, we're gonna do a use effect. Use effect, I think you make it like this. I haven't done it in a while, so I barely use effect in front end, so that's gonna be interesting. And we wanna fetch something, so we can fetch in like 20 different ways, but we're gonna do the most standard way to fetch something. So we're gonna say const response is fetch. Can I connect with you in anywhere? The thing is, I don't have social media, bro. I have to think about it. I'll tell you later. Let me focus on this subject first. Okay, so we're gonna use a JSON placeholder because we want to turn some JSON. Let me see. To-dos. Okay, let's do to-dos. This one. Okay, and we want to fetch something. Now I'm not sure what we're gonna do with the fetch yet. But if the res is okay, not okay, we want to return turn just error fetching. Now we need to have a new state because we need to store some data somewhere. So we're gonna say const data set data, I think. Yeah, let's do that. Use state, and I think it's going to be object of arrays, array of objects, sorry. And let's actually make a function on top of this. So const fetch data is going to be a function because we don't want to re-render every time. Let's actually fetch once, by the way. We're gonna add in a dependency. So we have that. So we said const response is fetch the data. If the fetch is not okay, we say error fetching. Okay, now we gonna continue. We're gonna say const no, we're gonna say okay, we can say const give me a second. First of all, let's call the function somewhere. So let's do that. So fetch data is going to be called, right? That is for something we need to have. We need to, because we're using React, we need to think about how we are going to set the data. So we're going to say const JSON is res.json argument, and then we can set data to JSON. I think that's how we can do it. Need to think about the result a little bit after, but okay, so now that we have that, we need to display it on the screen, obviously. How would we display this on the screen? Let me think about it for a second, guys. First of all, we want to map over something, so we're gonna say data.map item. I'm gonna also say ID, item ID. Okay, and let's actually make a wrapper. Okay, let's do return. And we want to return a list. So let's make an UL, because else we're gonna have some trouble later on. I'm gonna show you soon how to learn React. I'm not sure if you're still here. Tell me if you're still here. If you have like 5 minutes, if I solve this problem, I will tell you how to learn React and Next.js. Return, we want to have an li, like with a key of ID, obviously. I'm not sure if they have an ID. I'll have to check the response, and we're gonna say item. Okay, so I'm not getting anything back. So we already have an error somewhere here, because we have a hook of once. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that something here is going wrong. Data map item ID as item ID. Okay, so I'm not connecting those two. That is something what we need to do. Let me think about it for a second. ChatGPT. Should I solve it with ChatGPT? Or let's give ChatGPT 5 minutes. I give 5 minutes to solve it. Okay, there's a problem. The problem is that I'm doing synchronous fetching, so I need to have an async const async and then say await, and also need to do await here. Async const, is that an issue? It gives me an issue. Also, there's a problem here. I say empty array. No, empty array can be. That is not a big issue. And yeah, let's return the dependency. I want to fetch once. Oh, of course. Async. Okay. But we do have an error though. Let me think about it. The data.map. No, I see almost anything as correct here. I don't see any errors at the moment. I actually think this should work because we're using two things here. No, this is correct, but something is not displaying and it's not giving me an error. Well, at least not in a console here. It's a very bad way of how long you have left? 1:30. Fetch. Await to JSON. Set data to JSON. We're gonna do in catch error, but if we do in catch error now, what's gonna happen is that we run out of time. So, am I able to solve it without? Then you can ask the question, do I actually need to return this? So what if I do this and say li data? Okay, that doesn't work. I'm not sure if it's the program now or if I'm actually making a mistake, because I'm pretty sure I'm close. No, I keep my answer like this. I don't think it's, maybe from one thing aside. So yeah, okay. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say to me. It's good to have feedback, right? All right. So let's see. Issue with the data being rendered. You're attempting to render data directly in. However, in this case, it's an object from the first data, not a string or a number. So React renders as object. Oh, of course. The reason why that is because like I'm running it right, but because the data is loaded, it displays a certain way. So I need to say like title. Oh, okay, obviously. So item dot title, and that solves the problem. Okay, yeah, sure. All right. I saw your website, which is hosted on Netflix. It looks really cool. Tell me which type of technology you used to it. I used this for my website. Websites do not need to be complicated. It's a very simple website. Why would I over-engineer this with React or Next.js? Well, I can just use a simple website, right? So, all right. React.js. How to learn React.js? Very simple. You need to know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. What do you need to know by JavaScript? Um, everything you, everything JavaScript you need to know for React. There's a video online. All the JavaScript you need to know for React. Alright? So you're gonna go to that site, right? And you're gonna watch this video. All the JavaScript you need to know for React. And know these stuff well, like objects, promises, these things you need to know well before you go to React. Okay? Now, let's assume JS area, you learned this stuff, like JS need to know for React, right? To know for React. Like you have watched this video, you have a lot of stuff. Now you have two choices. Not the many choices, but what I would do is say, okay, React. What do I want to make? So what's the goal here, right? Do I want to make websites? Do I really want to make apps? Do I just um, cool looking UI? Like cool looking UI. What is the goal of React? Right? What do you want to build? Now, if you want to build a website in React, there are many tutorials online, right? I would just not even go to the documentation. I would just go to JS Mastery on YouTube, right? JS Mastery on YouTube, JS Mastery, and website. Okay, yeah, you go to JS Mastery, and this is one of the best tutorials I've ever seen on React. But you need to know Tailwind here. So if you don't know Tailwind, Tailwind is CSS library. You don't necessarily need to follow a tutorial, but it's good to keep like Tailwind CSS on hand because it's very simple here. This is display flexbox. This is flex column. This is align items center. This is a padding of 7, which 6 times 7 is 42 pixels, and like everything makes sense here. Right? It's CSS, but you can do it inline. That's what you'll learn. So you don't necessarily need to follow like a crash course of Tailwind. What you need to know, like if you don't know something like that, you go to Tailwind CSS .com and you go to quick search and you're gonna do, okay, how did he do the padding, right? So you're gonna go to do the padding, and you see here, oh, padding px is inline 1 pixel. So there's a whole list that you can see, Okay, good. If you notice, but I just done that. Then follow this tutorial. This tutorial, you're gonna make this website, which is a very cool looking website. I can unfortunately not click on it because YouTubers copy strike other YouTubers nowadays. They're very aggressive. But yeah, this is something you can do. It's a 3 hour, but he learns you really well how to use making a website in reactjs. Now this, again, I want to tell you, this is not Next.js. Right? Next.js is on top of React. Now what do you learn here in this um, React crash course? Well, you learn a couple of things. First of all, you learn to look cool looking UI, right? And you're not gonna build everything from scratch. You're gonna have some helpers, but the helpers do make sense. You're gonna learn how to make a navigation footer. You're gonna make how to make a grid. So in React, you're also gonna make like maybe a slider. I'm not sure, but a couple of things. This is what you're gonna learn. There's no TypeScript, so you don't need to worry about that. And you're gonna learn how to make it responsive because it's a little bit different than using just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And yeah, it's a really nice code along. If you learn this, then you will understand use state, you will understand use effect, and I'm not sure if it's gonna talk about this, but also use ref. And these are foundations in the three most important hooks. Now you don't know what hooks are yet, but basically they have a way of React handling things behind the scenes. That's what they're doing, and you target a certain keyword to do that. But he will learn you. He will talk about this slowly in React. Now, when we're gonna talk, when you did this, you can pretty much, yeah, foundation of React handling. Then you can say, okay, now I want to make websites in Next.js. Well, you can do that, right? Like here's Next.js. You can do the same, and then let me see if it has a good one. Make sure that you save the other one, right? You need to save this one, write it down, right? Because now I'm gonna show you the other one.
Do you remember?
Okay. Um, Let me see if I can find a good website to learn for you. For Next.js. I think this one is very good. Build and deploy an amazing developer portfolio with Next.js and frame of motion. Sure. You also learn frame of motion, so a bit of animations. I think this is a very good tutorial because if you know CSS animations, you can also learn frame of motion then. This is a good word of investment. Plus, then you have one website made and you have immediately a portfolio. So save this one as well. And he's gonna learn you Next.js. It's a bit different, but he will explain everything as well. Now, just because you know these hooks, right? You know like the use state and use effect and those kinds of stuff. It's all good. But there's only one problem. You do know like the real foundations, but there's a lot more to learn. Right? So you go to the documentation and then you're gonna start reading. Right? You need to read and you need to test out how certain things work. Right? So build this website here, build and deploy a responsive website with reactjs to Tailwind, and then you're gonna do this one, and you build your portfolio immediately, right? Next.js and frame of motion. So that's what you can do. It's an 12-hour investment, but you learn two stacks, and you learn Tailwind, and you learn an animation library. So it's definitely worth the time. There's a lot of 4 things in 12 hours. Now it says like 3 and 6, but you also need to make mistakes, implement, and those kinds of stuff. So that's what you're gonna do then. Do you have any questions? Alright, let me go here. So I need to remember that I'm gonna use this one, and let me update my documentation. So the fetching was pretty good, but I really want to do it another time. Good, bro. But then again, it's cool to learn this stuff, but you need to have a goal, right? So, like, if you just learn it, then it's a hobby. But if you're gonna use it for something else, it's a skill, right? So, think about that. Give me a result. Mistake log. Result. Okay. Okay. There's no really mistake. Okay, let's repeat. Yes. We're gonna repeat it on the, let me see, on the 27th of May 2025. Okay. We don't have to do the counter anymore. We don't have to do the to-do list anymore. Yeah. But let's do just that I did them. So let's do, sorry. Let me do result. It was pretty good. It wasn't necessarily a problem. Let me do result here and counter. Repeat result here is also good. The bounce to shirts, model click component. Okay. Oh yeah, that doesn't matter. It's just for me. Don't worry about it. Okay, so we're gonna continue with SvelteKit. If you don't know what SvelteKit is, so React has Next.js, but Svelte has SvelteKit. So basically, you are learning how to do SvelteKit along with me, and we're gonna make this cool looking UI if you're interested in that. So I'm gonna show you that. Captured.frame the website. Basically, we're gonna make this website. So there's a lot of things going on here at the same time. Right? A lot of things going on. So we're gonna make that website later, but first we're gonna learn SvelteKit. So yes, I am really gonna make this. Also see the navigation for a second. Alright, so it looks pretty hard, huh? But as soon as you learn React and Next.js, eventually you can do this too. It will take you a while, but it's just the experience, really. I think everyone can make that, so I'm not special here. Okay. So let's see where we left off. So let's go to a whiteboard, and we have to write some things down. And oh, this is the wrong one. This one. So there's a couple things that goes along here. So I'm gonna write it down in such a way that I will remember it, but don't worry about um, it too much. What I'm gonna do now. So um, okay. So not this one. Okay. Let's do a little bit here. And okay. I need to do static data. I will explain soon. Don't worry about it too much. Routing static data, and the static data goes into you have a page that's swelled 3 times, but the data needs to go somewhere. I see. Okay. Yeah, I get it. So the static data goes into pages, or this page. Oh, I can actually extend that one. This one, or this page. Right? Static data goes there, and this one goes here. And I have to say this is local plus children. Okay, so I remember later what the way was. So okay, local to children, static data. Now things get more complex here. Give me a second. Layout data. Let me see. Is this the part where they do layout.server? Yes, they do. Give me a second. And what we're gonna do here is page.server.js. We're gonna make this layout, and on this layout we're gonna yeah, this is the right one, right? Layout server.js. Give me a second. Okay, so we can keep it that, and then we need to update then the layout. This is look layout.svelte, and we need to add that in between this one. Okay, so I will explain soon. Give me a second. Okay, let me see if it works. Okay, that works. Great. Let me do this for a second. This is my way of remembering it. Everyone has a different way, but I want to have some okay, let me use a different color here. Okay, and then we need to do say this, that this is rerun run once. Okay. Okay, you have that. Setting headers. We're not gonna do setting headers right now. Reading and writing cookie is also not important here right now. This one is important. So let's refresh. And let's shortcut directory based. Lib.messages.js. Okay. Okay. And the other one as well. Roots.page.svelte. Okay. So we have two things to save. So we need to do in the source. So let's continue on with the blue one. And then we're gonna say okay, so now I know the linking. Let's actually put the arrow here, and can we turn it or no? Yeah, you can turn it. Okay, and then what happens is this one, and this is basically a storage global store. This is a global store. Okay. Alright. The form element. Okay, so I'm gonna explain it real quick what happens. So and I'm gonna do it from a Next.js perspective. So I assume people that have ever seen Next.js knows what I'm talking about. But I'm gonna explain Next.js as well. So when you create React, you will create a file called app.jsx, or if you use typekits, app.tsx. And this app.tsx basically has the const function, const app function, and that basically handles the application of React. But Next.js does it a little bit different. Next.js says you have a page and you have a layout. So these two things are different things and they have different goals. So the page.js is the actual page. It says if you open the app page.js, you're actually referring to this slash. And I'm gonna prove it to you by using give me a second, I'm gonna go a little bit back so you can see what's going on. I'm gonna prove it to you by using this block. Okay, starting the dev server here, give me a second. So here you have a map called routes, and this map called routes has a page. The same here, it has a page and it has a slash. So if I open up the slash, it will open what's here, which will be home. Home. Now, something that you've noticed, like, hey, there's more here. There's like a navigation here. How come only home stands here, but there's no block? That's because layout, which is for the UI, says you can use a separate HTML, so like splitting code, right? And then you can import it somewhere else. Now, Next.js does a little bit different than SvelteKit, but SvelteKit basically says navigation on the same level, right? The normal level here gets rendered into the page. So that means that if I use this script, then this one is going to be displayed on this page. But also into the children. So what does that mean? Well, it means that if I have slash and I have on that level, right? The slash is the roots level. So on the roots level, or let's say on the root level, which is slash, I have a layout, right? I have a layout, maybe JavaScript, and I have some HTML code. That means that on every level from this one to all down levels, it will be rendered. So that means that this navigation here, because I say let the children inherit this as well, it will also get displayed on the blog page. So let's go to the blog. So this is the blog level, and on the blog level we also have a page. But as you can see here, there is no navigation, so the navigation gets loaded from the layout. Now the same with Next.js. Now you don't always have to do it with Next.js, because Next.js and React does it a little bit differently. But this is what it says. It has a separate layout.js that has certain UI here, layout UI, place children where you want to render a page or nested layout, and then you're gonna render that. Right? So this is this file structure also from Next.js. And SvelteKit also has this. So let's go back to our root. Now we define this here, right? We say local, so the local level, which is on the root level, and that. But here we have something else called data.js. So what is data.js? Data.js is constant code. So this code will never change. Now why do we do this? Because we're not fetching from a database. So we just have some plain static code, and we want to render that on the page. Now this is also possible obviously with Next.js, and but you will learn that when you follow some tutorials or you read some more documentation. But this data.js, we want to render that data onto the page. So how do we do that? Well, you can do it in two ways, but the main way is actually saying I want to have a layout.server file. So layout.server file basically means that this will only get run into the server. In Next.js, you would just say, if you don't want to have it run on the server, you would say use client, but that's Next.js, right? And a layout server.js has one great benefit compared to layout.svelte and page.server.js and page.svelte, because these are four different files. This one only gets run once, so you only run this data that you rendered from the data.js once. Page.svelte always gets reloaded like a client file. Also page.server.js gets reloaded every time when you reload something from the page. Does everything, every link that you want to re-render, you will do that here. And also the layout, just normal layout, usually is persistent, but if you're gonna have some code that is dependent on the page, then it will also re-render. It's a bit complex, but as you learn project structure, it will make sense to you. So then we have skipped these ones. Now here we have something special. In SvelteKit, there's something called a lib file, and the lib file will have some JavaScript files. Here you can store certain data that you want to have everywhere on the page, so somewhere deeply nested or all the way on the top, but it doesn't necessarily go down. So that basically means, I will get you the picture. So if you have a file here, it can go everywhere, but it does not have to go through anywhere. So that's the advantage. Whereas when you have layout.svelte file, surface file, you need to go down certain levels before reaching that. So that is the disadvantage. So a store is where you store global code, which can be used everywhere. Very useful, because then you won't have the nightmare what reactjs has, which you will learn later, which is called level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, right? Of nesting just to get some data across, right? So we just use the lib.message. Now, Next.js, so this is React, right? But Next.js has this solve. Next.js says add message. So this is the same. It's not exactly the same. This is just a look through my project, and if anything is the same as the add.message.js, then grab that one. But the problem is if you have multiple message.js files. So that is the problem with Next.js. Now here you don't have that because there's only one store. So that is the great advantage of SvelteKit. Next. But there is no next because we're gonna learn what the next thing is. So setting headers, we're not gonna do that. Writing cookie, we're not gonna do that. We talked about the lib just now. We're gonna do the form element. Let's see what it's all about. In the chapter on loading data, we saw how data gets from the server to the browser. Yes, because we explained that, right? Let me redo that. Sometimes you need to send data in the opposite direction, and that's where the form comes in. So one of the advantages of the form hashtag tag in HTML is that you can send data to the database. The web platform way of submitting data comes in. Let's build a to-do app. We already got an in-memory database set up in service.lib.server.database. Okay, let's read through it a bit. Don't get scared about the database. This is just how you set a database. This is very common code, but I'm gonna read it anyways. Oh, I use VS Code. This is not my this is just an interactive way of learning. This is not my I have VS Code. Don't worry about it. Later on we're gonna do VS Code. In a real app, this data would be live in a database rather than in memory, but now we cheat. Okay, so you're using a map to have a database on your memory. Then you say export the function, so we're gonna use it anywhere, and we have a user ID, and the user ID, where is it used? If the database cannot get a user ID, then set a user ID. So if it doesn't exist, set a user ID with a random UID and the description, and the done is false because you haven't done it yet. The done is true only when the database can get the user ID. And obviously you need to return the user ID. Yeah, just for normal sakes. Create a to-do, user ID and descriptions. Const create to-do is db get user ID. So first we need to know from which user wants to make a to-do. And the to-dos.push will first get the ID, then get the description, and then set the done to fails. Okay, makes sense. And you also have, this is basically a CRUD file, so also delete. So const to-do is db get user ID, so get the user ID first, then find the index where the to-do should be exactly as the to-do ID. So what is the difference? Well, we're gonna scroll up because you see two IDs, to-do IDs, so you get a bit confused. Let me see where it is. So user ID is the user ID, okay? But this is not the same as a to-do ID, because when you make a to-do, you also say to-do.id, and you're comparing those IDs if they are at the same index, and if they are, what are you doing? If they are, if index cannot be the last element, then to-do.splice index of 1. I have to think what splice always does. Okay. Move up 1. That's what it does. So check the index that we have and then move 1. Okay. It's a bit complicated, but this is how they decided to do it. There are many ways to do this. Okay. And our load function, yes, you need to learn more about this, but you will. Don't worry. Like once you did that, those tutorials I gave you, you will understand this. Let's build a to-do app. We already got a memory and a load function to source.root. Okay, so source.root page server.ds. Let me see what's going on here. Okay, so it's setting a cookie so we know the user is logged in, and it also returns the IDs of the to-dos. Okay, so it basically saying it returns the learn SvelteKit to do. I'm not sure where it is at the moment. Let me see. Yeah, here. This is my description. This is where you know where I'm logged in. So learn SvelteKit is actually, that's me. Okay, this is copy of Purdue, but we need to add a form to create to do. Okay, so form.post, add a to do, input description of, autocomplete off, u class to do. Okay, so let's go to root space at Svelte. Am I at the right? Am I on the right level? Roots dot plus space dot Svelte. Yeah. And it says to dos. We have a class of ul to dos, and it renders, and we have some ul. But okay, let's add this in. So form method post is how you post a to do. So let's see what this does. So add a to do. Okay. If we type something in the input and hit enter, the browser makes a post request because the method of post attribute to the current page. So the post handles when we submit something. So we're gonna say hello Svelte. Method not allowed. Okay. But that results in error because we haven't created a server-side action to handle the post request. Now why is that? because when the data comes in close to the database, we have no way to handle that data that we just posted. Okay, so we're gonna add that to our routes.page.server.js. Yeah, okay, awesome. And this says get the data and get the description for the cookies. Okay, so there's they didn't know we were logged in. Is that what they're saying? Okay, we'll see. The request is a standard request object. Okay. Await request form data returns a form data instance. Okay, I see you later. Well, see you later, bro. Request is a standard request object. Await request form data returns a form data instance. When we hit enter, the database is updated and the page reloads with the new data. Notice that we haven't had to write any fetch code or anything like that. Data updates automatically. And because we're using the form element, this will work even if our JavaScript was, yeah, that's true. Hello, Swell. Now, I'm not a backend developer, but that was very interesting. No worries. Good luck. Okay, next. I want to see, because there's a whole navigation here. Forms, validation, because of enhances, API routes, get, post handlers, errors and react, advanced sockets, hooks, page options, SSR, CSR, linking options, preloading, reloading the page, advanced routing, advanced loading, okay, environment variables, okay, dynamic, private, okay, conclusion, next steps, okay. So let's check the validation a little bit. Okay, this is like the required and those kinds of stuff. I'm not focused on this at the moment because making a database and those kinds of stuff is also backend. So I actually want to go to the get handlers. And let's reload. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, so you can actually build a server. Oh, very interesting. I actually really need to learn that, to be honest, because that will make my life easier. Okay. Oh, okay, so Svetkit makes it easier to just return. Okay, so it probably also has a post handler then. So instead, Okay. I'm not gonna do the handlers. I do want to, because handlers are something I'm not focused on right now because I am a front-end developer, not a back-end developer. But now you can see that I'm a bit stuck, right? So that's pretty interesting. Um, let's check this out for a second. Okay, what is this all about? Circuit makes three read-only state objects available via the app.state module, page, navigating and updated. This one you will use most often is page, which provides information about the current page. URL params, root ID, status, error, data, load and form. Each of the properties is reactive, okay, using the state.raw under the hood. Here's an example using page URL path name. Okay. So let's see what this is all about. So import page from app.state. And we just say area current path name is equal to slash. Okay. Area current path name is equal to about on the layout. Okay, so instead of slash and about, we will do that. Why would you do this? Okay. So we also, okay, stores, but we don't have an app.states, or do we have an app.states? Where is this coming from? That is my question. Is this also module? Okay. So this is a built-in module. Okay. Okay, interesting. So it is on roots.layout.swell. Okay. We do have a problem here because we have rendered, oh, layout.swell. Just a second, guys. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. I see what happened here. It has some double code. Okay. Because of that one. Okay, so we use area.current. So I want to see what area.current actually is. Area.current. So what is this? A non-null area current state on the element indicates that this page represents the current item within a container or set related items. If you have a group of related elements, such as several links in a breadcrumb or steps in a multiple flow with all elements start differing from one another, to indicate the site user that the elements represent the group, and current should be used to inform the assistive. Don't use Avogadro as a substitute for area selected, grid cell, option, row, or tab. Let me see. Okay. So that's where we are here, and these are other pages. And then, oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Let's continue. Yeah. Let me. This is in the layout, so it's persistent. So let's go over here, and we said that the layer that's swelled oh, okay. What was that usable again? I'm gonna ask what the advantages are because I don't see the advantages. Hmm. I just wanna let the ChatGPT explain what the advantage is. Um, why would I use it for navigation? Okay, so it's a read only. Hmm. I'm thinking about the usability for my use cases. Why should I use it? I don't know. Why should I use it? Ah, okay. I see. Okay. It's mainly for UI cases. Sure. Um, uh, the, at least for my case, right? So, okay, I'm gonna write it down. Checking for UI cases. Okay. And then gonna um, give something like this. These are components. I can make components, but um, all right. Okay. Navigating. Just gonna check. Oh, okay. Navigating object represent the current navigation. When a navigation starts because of a linked link or a backward navigation approving go to, the value of navigation will become an object with the following properties. From and to, object with params root URL properties. Type, the type of the navigation, link, pop state or to go. For complete type of navigation, documentation. It can be used to show a loading indicator. In this exercise, source route.page surface.js and about page both have an artificial delay inside. Okay, what is the artificial delay then? So let's go to page.server.js. Set timeout. Okay. Okay, both have a timeout. Yeah. Zoom a bit in. My eyes are starting to hurt. It can be used as certain navigation in this exercise. Both of official inside layout as well. Import. Okay. Layout dot svelte. Import a navigation object and add a message to the navigation bar. Okay, so let's do that and see what happens. Page, comma, navigation, and then let's see. Before the nav. Okay. Let's see what happens. I don't see anything happening. Oh, okay, because it's too fast. Let's do like 5,000 and also here like 5,000, so it will take like 5 seconds. Oh, we have an error. Oh, is it because I didn't reload? Oh, okay. Oh yeah, because I said 5 seconds. Navigating to about, okay, so it's like a loading stuff. Okay. Okay. I get it. I'm not sure why I should use that though. I have to think about that. Why I would ever use that. Um, like it's for a loading indicator. And that also is for the first time. So, but on the first time it does not load anything. Um, yeah, because fulfill is basically empty. It doesn't do anything. So okay. I get it. So you can basically build an UI here. So how am I gonna display that? I am gonna write it down. And that's gonna be a little bit below, but it's just an example, right? So don't forget to import a navigation though. Okay, let me do that real quick, because else I will get in trouble. So we can extend this. Oh. Okay. And page server.js, then we'll have something like this, right? So, okay. Sure. Awesome. I think that is it for navigating. Let's see what we need to do. We also have updated. Let's see. Is it difficult? No, it's not difficult. So also let's do that then. Okay. The updated state contains true or false depending on whether the version of the app has been updated, deployed since the first page is opened. For this to work, your shotgun config must specify interval. But if that is true, then we need to learn uh, advanced routing. Okay. In production, not during development. For this reason, the current will also be false in this tutorial. You can manually check for a new version regardless of the default interval by calling the updated check. If updated, set a toast. I don't see anything useful for me at the moment to do that, to be honest. Okay, let's see what we have. Basic error pages, React, okay, hooks. I just wanna handle fetch, handle error. Are we going to do that though? Not really. We are going to do this one's basics pre-render. Preloading, reloading the page, yes. Rest parameters. Breaking out of layouts, we also need to do that. Custom dependencies, no. Yeah, we do need to do that one, and yeah, okay. There's not a lot, maybe 2 or 3 days, and then we can start the app. So that's pretty great. It hasn't been too bad, right? Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for that one. So we did some SWOT kit, we did that one. So we really did a lot of hard stuff. Let me see if we have to do something like this. No, the token algorithm. No, I think. Yeah, I think that pretty much it for me here. Yeah. Okay, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment if you want to see me make 607 years, and I will see you until the next one. We've been live for more than 2 hours, so it's okay. And we gained 3 subscribers, so that's also cool. Right? See you later.